Hello, and tense, all my relations, even the rocks. Welcome to Actors and Ancestors, a show about lives and experiences of Indigenous actors. Folks like you, or maybe not. I'm not the ear police. You don't have to be native to sit in, but good on you, because allies are always welcome. I'm your host, JD Moncret. I'm a Rocky Cree actor from Treaty 6 and 10, and you might recognize me from a few TV shows and movies, and I'm just letting you know this again, because I'm sure that there's more than a few people tuning into the show for the first time because of my guest today, who I am truly humbled and honored that we have here sitting across from me through the magic of the internet. Because when I started this podcast, we were thinking who would be the biggest guest that I could possibly dream of. And that was this man. And it's a wonderful moment. I didn't dream it would happen, but it's a testament to our community as Indigenous artists and just how much we want to uplift each other and support each other, because that's the aim of this podcast, is to be a small part in a larger vehicle to drive our people forward. And so I'm appreciative to you, sir, and I will lay some tobacco down. Let me introduce him. He's arguably the most famous Native actor to have been in this industry, the first of us to win an Oscar, but I think it's more important to say he's a part of our history as artists, breaking down doors, showing us as humans rather than stereotypes, taking part in cinematic history, like being in the first all Indigenous cast film, Powwow Highway, and of course on roles with huge blockbusters like Dances with Wolves, Last of the Mohicans, Avatar. That's the one with the big blue natives instead of the TV show that I'm in. But all these accolades, incredible roles, which I mean, we could spend the entire time chatting about, but I want to focus on more of life and ideas, which is where I want to start. So welcome to the show. My guest today, known only to his friends by his full name, Westinghouse Studebaker. Yeah. Can you introduce yourself, please? Tell us where you are, your land, who claims you?
My name is Westinghouse Studebaker, and I was manufactured in Detroit in 1946. I am claimed by General Motors at times and sometimes by Ford Distributing Company. And I'm happy to be here with you to speak about ancestors and actors. They're two portions of the population that we cannot live without.
Hey,
right.
I've heard how notoriously serious you take yourself from a few of your friends already, so it's good to see that the rumors are living up to it. Oh gosh, there's so much to actually talk about with you, but you've had so many challenges on and off screen that you've overcome. You've broken down barriers, you've set records, won the biggest of big awards. And before I get into all of this stuff, this journey, I found out in my research that it wasn't until your 70s that you had your very first on-screen kiss. Why are you so shy, Wes? Say.
Well, actually, I did say that. And that was actually a mistake. That was my second screen kiss. I had the opportunity back in I think it was the late 90s, wherein we shot some films taken from books for a series that used to run on PBS a few years ago. I had the honor to have been cast as the husband of Sheila Tousey. She was actually my first little screen kiss, but it was just a little peck, mwah. And
And you decided it really wasn't for you, so you waited for a couple of decades before you did it again.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought, oh man, I don't know if I can continue to enjoy this and keep my head on my shoulders. It's kind of like perhaps it might be kind of like taking something addictive.
Oh, yeah.
But in any case, let me back up a little bit. My name is actually Wesley Studi. And I go by the name Wes Studi without the E on the end because I have a legal name and I have a showbiz name, which I came by mistake. Back in the days when you had to have a headshot.
Yep.
Well, back in those days, you had to go and have your headshots printed, and the fashion at the time was to put your name down at the bottom. I inadvertently, or the printer made a mistake and left off the last E on my name. So it
Wow.
became, I started the name Wes rather than Wesley,
Yeah.
and Studi without the E at that point because I looked at the pictures when I picked them up, and I thought, hey, that's kind of suggestive as well as kind of looks good, you know.
Yeah.
So I kept that spelling of the name, and who claims me are the Tsalagi of northeastern Oklahoma, which is actually the Cherokee Reservation. That's who claims me, and I claim them right back.
I'm calling you, of course, from Canada, up here.
Mm.
I'm filming a movie with one of your friends, Michelle Thrush. I just want to
Mm.
give her a shout out. She speaks very
Shout
highly
out
of
to
you.
Michelle. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
right. Yeah, it's funny because I've had this discussion with a few people about how we do know each other. And do you know that game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
I've heard of it.
Where
Yeah.
yeah, where you reach out and you say, "Oh, this person was in this movie, and they know this," and then you could find a link to Kevin Bacon through 6 different exchanges. And then for us, it's funny because it's literally, I think, anyone that's done something in Indigenous film, it's the 1 degree. You know what I
1 degree.
1 degree separation. We only get the one because there's not that many of us.
Yes, but we're building. We're building.
We're
There's going to be
building.
more and more of us soon. Yeah.
There's
Mm.
exactly, which is why your guidance is very much appreciated here. You know, and it's funny too because there's a lot of people that are not Indigenous. You know, they're these pretendians, as we call them. People that always find that they have a mystery grandparent who is Cherokee or something. Does that why do you think it's
It's
always the
so
Cherokee?
tiresome. I tell you, it's so
Yes.
tiresome. It's been going on all my life. Everybody that wants to claim to have some sort of connection or Indian blood, if you will, always pick Cherokee from the time immemorial. Well, not immemorial, but in my lifetime. Yeah. But I've noticed lately they're starting to reach out and claim being Apache or Comanche so
Which might be the fact that we're actually becoming more and more known, all the different tribes. So it's
yeah,
not just the one. I don't know.
right, right. Well, Cherokee was the only one that would come up to people's minds at some point in time. So I think that was probably the impetus for that, But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad we're sharing now.
Yeah. Previously, it was if you were to name an Indigenous actor, you might be one of the only ones that people could have come up with off of the top of their head. And now, I mean, it is a beautiful thing. Now we're starting to get a lot of other people showing up. You know, we have our Lily Gladstones and DeFaros and all these folks that are inspiring, in no small part thanks to you. I mean, when you started, it was a very different environment for Indigenous actors. You know, you probably could name more than a few productions where you were the only person on set back in the day, and now you worked on a show like Reservation Dogs, literally where you grew up, right in Oklahoma, where the writers, directors, crew, so many people were all Indigenous. What's that been like for you personally to see this incredible transition?
I enjoy it because I can empathize, sympathize, and/or I can feel it. The excitement of young people who are doing maybe their first series, or maybe got their first part in a film, and I know what the feeling was like when I started as well, and it's an exciting time. It's a time of beginning to learn about what the business is all about. And what brings what comes to my mind at that point is for the longest time at that point in time when I got started, I thought it was the work of acting, the actual act of acting that was what was asked of us. But as time goes on, I begin to learn that no, it's not just what you do in front of the camera or on stage, it's also how you go about promoting yourself and continuing to find more work. That is the work, actual work of the actor, and that involves so much more than just the time when you hear action or when your play starts. The fact that you have to become somewhat of a personality is something that I did not count on when I got started, because it's a matter of you do a show that's successful, and if you're a part of a successful show, you're going to have to begin to talk about it, speak about it, promote it, be a part of the whole machinery of selling the work, and that's something that came sort of late to me in my career, is that I've finally realized that, yes, I'm going to have to do these interviews and talk about things over and over and over and over again to the point of exhaustion. You know what I mean? It's I really felt for Lily whenever she became the big hit, the big new thing, something that she's been working at for years. But once, she became the big new thing, and wham, she's on every cover. She's on every show, doing this. And I thought, oh my God, I bet this woman is exhausted after a couple of weeks, and she had to keep on and on with the shows.
Because it was like a supernova for her, right? It all came seemingly at once.
Yeah,
rather than this gradual build.
And the same thing with the Reservation Dogs cast, the young kids. Wow, there they are on every freaking show you can imagine. There,
I did a movie with DeFaro and Paulina before, just a few years before they got cast in that, and it was incredible to see these kids, because they were children at the time.
Yeah,
suddenly just go into the absolute mainstream superstardom. And they've done so, I think, with a lot of grace, and they've carried themselves really, really exceedingly well. And it is wonderful to see. But you're right. There is a certain bit of, I guess, performance that you have to bring to that as well, because you can't really switch off. Do you find that exhausting all the time?
Absolutely exhausting. I mean, how long can you be excited about your latest project that you finished a year ago? It's something, and it finally hits the screen, and then all of a sudden you have to jump up and be so excited about, wow, and and hopefully you're entertaining to whoever's interviewing you or whatever, and their followings.
Well, what was it like though on that show, being on a show that's much like you? I think it was a very powerful show, but also one that wasn't serious. It brought a lot of powerful issues, but was also good at bringing that humor, which I've seen you reflect so well. Do you think that you just it's a good extension of us as a people?
I think so, and I think it has helped with the understanding of of who we as Native Americans are here in the United States, and in the Americas, really. That up until a certain time in my career, I rarely, if ever, had any humor in my performances, and that's it's because of where I started. Right, I started with actually, when I think back on it, Powwow Highway was kind of humorous in terms of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
part.
I think
But
it's impossible to get that many Indians together and not have some fun. You know?
but after that, all of
Yeah.
my every image of me in any film was serious, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it was we're dragging the drama to the max, you know. So, but so for a number of years, that's just about the only kind of parts I was offered and did um, until something like I think I finally found kind of a crossover in a film called Mystery Men.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. I was going to talk about this with you
Yeah,
because that came out after Heat, which I know was a role where you were,
yeah.
not cast as an Indigenous man, but I saw that before I saw Heat. And I
Ah,
remember the confusion that I felt watching you on screen because at that time I was still waiting for, well, when's the Indigenous twist gonna kick in? When's this guy gonna
when,
be a magical shaman or something, But
right,
you were just this really funny character.
right. And I didn't put any feathers in my hat either,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I didn't drag out the leathers and didn't
No.
get out the feathers. Yeah, that was
You had the
first time.
pleathers, I think. It looked quite
Pleathers. well, 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 actually, it was my first time wearing tights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I think you were the Sphinx, as I recall, and you would always have these great words of wisdom, and like you can't let your doubts own you, or you will own your or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was such a funny guy.
You must
Yeah.
fight. You must fight like the wolf pack, not like the six pack.
It was such a silly movie. It was ahead of its time, I really think, because that was way ahead of the superhero angles.
Way ahead of Deadpool, I tell you that.
Way ahead.
Yeah.
Way ahead. And
Mm.
yeah, and it was a turning point, I remember, in my younger cinema days, just because I was like, oh, look at that. We could just be characters,
Mm.
That's different. That's something really cool. What was one of the first
Yeah.
things that you remember of an Indigenous person seeing on TV? Who was that? If you can go back to
Oh,
when you
well,
first.
that would be Jay Silverheels. I used to watch Saturday Morning Lone Ranger.
Yes, Lone Ranger.
Yeah, and Jay was the only identifiable native you could see on television.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at somebody like Will Rogers. Yeah, I mean, he's part, but he could pass as white, it's no problem.
I got that curse too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got two places to work there. At
There
the
we go.
beginning.
That's true.
Well, that's the way it was at the beginning of my career. Was that was essentially about the only kind of parts that we could be considered for, given our look, essentially, and especially if we identified on our resumes what we were, and so that that was pretty much a standard at that point in time. That was in the late '80s. When I started. there were just a few in LA when I went out there. I could count the actors that were available, maybe a dozen males my age who were working, my age and around my age, who were actually working from time to time,
Some of those guys, and of course, much respect to the late great Russell Means, Gordon Jatusis. I imagine a lot of those folks you were around when they were working, you're working, and so you would see a lot of the same people in those audition rooms.
Essentially, yeah, the same people. Russell, I got to know during the actual AIM days. Before that, before getting into show business,
Which is great because you led this entire life.
I had a life before.
You had a
showbiz.
Life.
Yes, I had a
like
real,
a legit life. You didn't get into acting until you were in your 40s, I think it was. You were in the Vietnam War. Your experience with the Vietnamese people was one of the reasons why you mentioned that you joined AIM, because you said you found more kinship with the Vietnamese than the United States. I was hoping that you could kind of reflect on that and your other reasons for joining AIM.
Yeah. Um, I've told the story before. 68 to 69 is when I was there. We, as an Army unit, had uh, Vietnamese who had been VC, Viet Cong,
Yeah.
and or RVN, and some of them had surrendered. Chu Hoi is what they were called, and some of them became our scouts. Ring a bell?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
uh, but some of these guys that I would talk with, we had two guys that actually I became pretty good friends with, given the language barrier and everything else, but kind of created a bond. There were times when we'd go from like a fire base to a village or something like that. If we were walking around not really doing anything official army wise or anything, some of the kids and some of the adults would come up and talk with our scouts and then look over at me and they say, "Hey, you same Vietnamese, eh? You same Vietnamese." And that big smiling and laughing, carrying on. I say, "Oh, heck yeah, same Vietnamese." Yeah. So we got kind of, they would offer us up nice food and things like that. It paid off. But
Yeah.
in a way, on another level, that's what got me to thinking at that point, what the hell am I doing here? Fighting these
Yeah.
people who have actually done nothing to me in the present and, share an experience with a colonial power that's doing the same thing to them as was done to my people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I began thinking about that way before I came home. My last 6 months over there was I wasn't that enthusiastic a soldier at that point in time.
Yeah, that would be very disillusioning for what was happening at the time.
And the one other thing too that happened was that we actually relocated villages of Viet Cong.
I was going to ask about this. I heard a story that they told the indigenous people, you guys, not to go to work that day. Basically, they
Yeah.
were going to relocate a village. What was the reasoning? Do you
I
think?
don't know. And
Yeah.
it's only my guess and my mind that came up with the idea that, well, do they remember that? Is that a part of their psyche? Is that part of their reasoning why they're not taking us out there? Because what they would do is just take a huge net and spread it out on the ground and have all the villagers put their belongings in that net and then hook it up to one of those big Jolly Green Giant helicopters and take them and their belongings to someplace else and dump them.
Oh,
That
wow.
was yeah. And so that kind of reminded me of our own removal.
Which is, yeah, it's universal across. I was literally just talking to someone the other day about the Inuit and how they would move them to uninhabitable areas of the tundra, and that
Yeah.
they would not allow them to go. It doesn't matter where it is on Turtle Island, but the same thing. Just, you guys are there. Go where we want you to stay, and we're going to keep an eye on you.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, that's that part of my story in terms of yeah.
Absolutely. What were some of the other reasons at the time that guys like you and Russell were joining AIM together? What kind of common kinship did you find?
Well, actually, I think Russell was maybe not the initial founding, but of the American Indian movement, but he soon became one of the voices. He became one of the big voices of the movement, and he served time over it, and he and several others became figureheads that were from the movement, and they suffered for it as well as they became personalities. And I think that's how Russell eventually became a part of the acting community. I think the first thing that I ever worked with him on was Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone in the Indigenous community that hasn't seen that. But yeah, what a performance you guys gave. I still get goosebumps when I watch you guys going at it on the cliff top. You know.
Yeah, we had a good time with that.
I imagine, like, I mean, because we're just watching it through the lens of the movie and the masterwork that it was, but taking off my eyes for a second and thinking of just how much fun that would have been at the time.
Yeah, I had to remind him, stay serious, man, stay serious. You're killing me here. Come on, really killing me.
You know? And he's just laughing. Yeah, I know. Oh man, that is so good. So I guess because I remember you had talked about how you got involved in acting, and initially it was because you thought that there would be a lot of women in the classes.
You got a problem with that?
No. You said you got that very first kiss taste, and you went, "Ooh, this is a bit too intoxicating." Hey,
too intoxicating. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Actors and Ancestors listeners, I want to let you know about another film and TV podcast you might enjoy by another Indigenous group. They're called Real Indigenous. That's REEL Indigenous, like a film reel. You get it? That's funny. Their podcast takes a critical look at what's on your screen and everything in between. Hey, that rhymes too. A mix of reviews and interviews with producers, directors, writers of your favorite shows. Like on this show, we only talk to actors. So if you're looking for some of the other people who make things happen and want more Indigenous screen content, make sure to check out Real Indigenous. They're real deadly. They're also really awesome and helped us get in touch with Wes to ask him to be on this show you're listening to right now. Holy. Real Indigenous drops an episode on Tuesdays on all podcast platforms. So give them a listen. Like I say, you've lived through so much history, even when history was still trying to write us off. You know, you're quoted. Hold on, you're quoted as saying, "Where's this quote? I had it. We had a different way of living. We had a different way of life. We are older than America. We always have been." I love that quote because how important is it that our history, our lives, our future now are finally being told through our own artistic voices, as opposed to the stereotype that we were thrown the scraps.
Well, I think we're actually just at this point introducing ourselves as real human beings to the rest of America in a way, because they have always seen us as a monolith of brown people who used to live here, and we feel really bad about having screwed them over, you know, or we did a takeover of a continent here that was peopled by many, and many were wiped out. Your ordinary American citizen, if they have any idea of history whatsoever, feel a guilt or or perhaps even a redistributed kind of an anger towards us because they don't want to feel the guilt of what happened to their ancestors, because they will immediately say, "Well, I didn't know that. I wasn't here then." Right? Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, we ourselves as natives, we cling to our ancestors. I mean, we hope to honor them by being hopefully as good as they were at it at a much more difficult time in history when they were actually being physically attacked by their armies and militias and everything, you know. We don't have it that we have a hell of a lot easier these days than those guys did. So we honor our ancestors.
Yes.
They, in a way, the American citizens, while they may have their icons and their heroes and all, I still think that there is a feeling of guilt within their persona, and it's something that we talk about in terms of healing. And I think that the average American citizen can also begin to think about it in terms of being healed and healing as well, because, they essentially are the abuser in a relationship that we have had and continue to have. I don't know about what kind of treaties you guys have in Canada, but we steadfastly cling to our treaties because that's what makes us equivalent to states, on a political basis. And then we are also citizens. That's a kind of a almost a split personality in a way. Who do we owe our allegiance to? We owe our allegiance to our people, but we are allied to the federal government of the United States, and that's what our governments, our tribal governments, uphold and continue to uphold, and hopefully the United States does the same thing.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, you're right. You were quoted as saying, "We bring our ancestors with us." And it's absolutely true. Speaking of American and Canadian people feeling bad about, screwing us over. In Canada here, we have National Truth and Reconciliation Day, our Orange Shirt Day. It's coming up on September 30th. And it is a day that's meant to commemorate the history, the legacy of our residential school system and educate Canadians, non-Indigenous people, the concept of every child matters, coming after the uncovering of unmarked burial sites at all these schools across Canada. A lot of people now, this
almost
is the thing.
10,000.
Yeah, and more. I mean, we're still uncovering, and a lot of people they will just take this day off as a statutory holiday for federal workplaces. I mean, how do we make something like this meaningful? And honestly, are these days even meaningful for non-Indigenous people when there are Indigenous people? This is a day like any other. And what is the point of symbolic days like this? Do you have any thoughts about these type of commemorations?
I think they're good for people that feel good about them. If somebody gets a satisfaction of some kind, if it does something for them, that's fine. They mean very little to me. It's very much like the state of Georgia at one point in time played a big role in our removal from the eastern part of the United States, and they issued an apology.
Yeah. Okay.
I just say, okay.
Yeah.
So you said you're sorry.
Yeah.
But what does that do for me? What does that do for my people?
Yeah, exactly. Canada has said their fair share.
Yeah.
Of apologies
the reconciliation.
Too, okay. Yeah. Thanks. Like, I don't know what to say to hey, we're sorry about that. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. What you were saying earlier about, it wasn't me though. I wasn't there, okay. Yeah. Great. So we're not learning.
Yeah.
But part of what we do is we're also like to focus on, because it's very heavy things that of course we can get into all the way, but there's also some real beautiful things too. I know that you have a really personal connection with some beautiful parts of your own history. Your own ancestor is, and forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, Nanyehi, a beloved figure in Cherokee history. Is that correct? Yeah. Can you tell us about her?
Well, I just learned in the past 6 months or thereabouts, or past year, that I am a descendant of Nanyehi, or her English name was Nancy Ward.
Ah.
And to tell the truth, I'm leaving in about 4 days to go into rehearsals to do a play about her life.
That's right. And it's a musical?
And it's a musical, yes.
Now, this is something I'm very excited to see you in, because I don't think I've ever seen you do something like this.
Right. I haven't done a musical before. But yeah, this is my bucket list thing, right? I mean, I got to do a musical before I die, you know.
Yeah. What's her story? Nancy Ward.
Her
Nanyehi.
Oh, there's just so many stories. If I could learn to intertwine them well, she is the ancestor of my father's line of people. Nancy was married to a Cherokee first, and how she came to prominence was during a fight with I don't know which battle it was, but I think they were allied with the Brits at the time. But her husband was killed. She took over his part of the fighting and continued to fight with the men throughout that battle.
Oh,
and
she's a real warrior. Awesome.
She was a real warrior woman that got involved to the max. And then as time went on, she began to mellow out and became known as a peace woman, a peace chief, essentially, because she was known as the beloved woman. Everybody loves this woman, you know, because of what she has done for the people. But yeah, so I've had famous people in my, what do you call it?
That's the ancestors part of the actors of our. We got it. We know now.
All right, we're going to make use of that title. Darn right, we're going to use it. Yes.
That's what we do. You were also notoriously a really good hustler. If I were to say to you, "Hey, Wes, I hear you're making a movie with Lily Gladstone and Dallas Goldtooth and me," hey, what does that remind you of? Can you tell that story of you calling up somebody? Real quick.
Oh God, yes, yeah. I love that guy. Actually, I had worked on Last of the Mohicans and gotten to know Michael Mann to a certain extent and had retained his number. So one day I saw that, hey, he's going to do a film, a contemporary film. And I thought, So I called him up, and amazingly enough, he took my call.
Oh, wow.
"How you doing, Wes?" And I said, Hey, Michael, I understand you're doing a film with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and me. Is that right?" He was quiet for a bit. Then he began to chuckle. And then it got louder and louder. So I thought, aha, got him.
Got him. The steps you got to take in this business sometimes. See, that's another thing people don't realize, you know, not just doing that work, but that's part of what you were saying earlier about getting
Finding
in
the
those
next job.
cracks. Yeah, putting it out there. And then you were this, like, for those of you that haven't seen Heat, go see it. I mean, it's an all-star cast. Absolutely incredible. I saw it again after I saw you in Mystery Men. So it was a second role that I saw you in where your character wasn't just tied to being Indigenous. And I thought, wow, look at you. She's just going toe to toe with all of these guys. And yeah,
I call it my crossover.
that was the moment when you switched. I really appreciate you being here. This is a segment I call the red carpet, just for us here. What is out there right now that is inspiring you, that, you know, makes your spirit feel full, that you see other Indigenous people doing? It could be a person, could be a thing you're watching. You'll be happy to know that we had to institute a rule that people couldn't just shout out Reservation Dogs all the time, because that's what everyone was really happy about. What out there personally inspires you at the moment, Wes?
I think it's the growth of natives in cinema. And it's something that, whether we meant it or not, we always said that we've got to tell our own stories. It was something like almost every meeting you would ever go to about show business and natives, that kind of thing, it always ended up with the same old phrase. And some of us got kind of tired of it after a while. But on the other hand, that phrase was, we got to tell our own stories, right? Well, as it turns out, that phrase is still with us. We are now telling our own stories, however, and with with native talent. And that is what we, as actors back then, had always said to one another, is that if we're going to tell our own stories, we got to have our own people get more involved in this business. And lo and behold, I would say 15 to 20 years ago, that process actually began to develop.
It is huge how it's changed in the last decade and a half. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe you're not just an inspiration for so many other Indigenous people, but I mean, even your own family.
Yeah. I have two sons who have been involved and are still involved in the business. Wes Studi is out in L.A. working, and my older son, Daniel, is the voice of Stallion of the Cimarron. Anyway, it's a horse story, and my son was the Indian boy in it.
Hey.
Years and years ago.
You know what? I appreciate that, because frankly, we're due for any type of, and I make the joke, of course, but we don't have nepotism, and there's not enough of a Hollywood for indigeneity here for any type of nepotism.
Hey, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to build a dynasty is what I'm after here.
Get those kids right in there. Do you have any,
get them working?
Do you have any final words for any other young people that are thinking of jumping into this industry?
Well, what I would say is that, remember, it is a business, and it is something that you have to prepare for. There's no getting around that. You have to be able to hit your mark and say your line. You have to know how to park and bark, if you will. And that's just
I don't know how I've never heard that phrase before. I love it. Park and bark.
Hey,
I've never heard it.
It comes from opera people, I think. But, no, I don't know where it comes from. But yeah, you got to be prepared. You got to do lines. Mm-hmm. You got to work. That's the work of being in front of the camera or on stage. And I would recommend stage work before film work.
I agree with you. Yeah.
At least, yeah. Getting to develop your chops on stage is not a bad idea, mm-hmm. I think. And sometimes looks will get you so far, but then after that, you still have to deliver. It's a matter of doing that, as well as sacrificing time, effort, and sometimes meals and a good time. There's some things you just simply have to sacrifice at times.
It is true.
And, it's work.
It's work, and
it can be real work.
I think those are some of the truest words that you can ask for. Yeah, the man, the legend. It's Wes Studi himself, without the E at the end of it, because of a printing error. Which I think that's the biggest revelation I've heard in ages. I got my name from a printer.
If it looks good, go with it.
It looks good. You go with it. Wes, I appreciate you being here. Everybody out there in Actors and Ancestors land, thank you for tuning in, and maybe we'll see you on the next one.
Well, who knows? Maybe I'll see you down the road on the set somewhere. You
never know. Hey, we're putting it out there. Now it's got to happen. I appreciate that.
It's out there.
Anyway. Okay. Dinagay. I go sit.
Valerian.
Actors and Ancestors is created, hosted, and produced by me, Joel D. Moncra. Audio production and editing by Daniela Barreto. Special thanks to the Indigenous Screen Office for funding this show.